The great Australian outback, vast, untouched and teeming with unique wildlife. Well, at least that's what I thought. I've just discovered a very different, very alarming Australia. Even in the most far-flung corners of our continent, our precious wildlife is disappearing. The shameful fact is we have one of the worst extinction records of any country in the world. But there is hope. I've met a remarkable bunch of conservationists, private citizens putting their own money on the line, trying to drag our most threatened species back from the edge of oblivion. Deep in the eucalyptus woodlands of central Western Australia, the age-old rhythms of dawn are about to get an unexpected interruption.
Come on, that one, that's it.
Chris Darwin is an unconventional conservationist, and he's roped me into his mission to save some of Australia's most endangered species. This is not a natural state for you and me.
You're an ape. What do you mean? This is absolutely natural.
That's what your great-great-grandfather said, I know.
Am I just disproving his theory?
Chris has an impeccable environmental pedigree. He's the great-great-grandson of Charles Darwin.
No.
Whoa!
Well, that's better.
I think I'm there.
The 19th century naturalist who revolutionised science and religion with his theory of evolution.
Are you going to come on with me? Come with me, Liz. Come on. Here we go.
Today, we're checking on the endangered regent parrot. Chris is hoping one of its nests will be deep inside this hole.
Can you hear the chicks? Yeah. You can just hear them. Well, right. And let's see what I can find. Well, I can see some white feathers in there.
Well, there's...
And that is not a good sign.
Oh, OK.
Because that's a corella, I think.
Unfortunately, we find more evidence of endangered Australian wildlife on the edge. The regent parrot has literally been pushed from its nest by the more aggressive corella.
What's that?
Ah.
Look at this. That'll be the mother or the father. It's a corella.
Yeah, mother
in fact,
doesn't want us...
there's the mother. So they've just flown back.
Not good news.
Unfortunately not.
It's not good for the regent parrot, anyway.
No,
yeah.
no.
Chris Darwin is certainly one of a kind. Out here in his Savile Row suit and Panama hat, he may look out of place, but this Londoner has made Australia home for a very good reason. We hold the shameful distinction of having one of the highest extinction rates in the world. And Chris is involved in a bold new experiment in conservation, buying up vast tracts of land to create private nature reserves.
There have been 5 great extinction periods in Earth's history, and obviously the most well-known is the time when the dinosaurs died out. This is considered today, we are in the middle game of the 6th mass extinction period of planet Earth.
In 200 years of white settlement, we've already lost half of our 40 known mammals, and scores more species are hovering on the brink. It's a depressing roll call, from the cute bilby to the mighty loggerhead turtle and the magnificent mahogany glider.
We've got nowhere else in the universe to live. We live on this small, moist lump of rock spinning through the desert of space. Why would you destroy the only planet on which you can live? Is that the act of the most intelligent animal on the planet?
Clearly not.
Isn't it? I don't know. I don't think it is. That's why I'm here.
Scientists and researchers say this decline in species is like a death spiral. It's as if Australia's native fauna has literally fallen over a cliff. So what's going on? How is it possible that this vast landscape of ours has become a killing field?
Superficially looks great, but just scratch the surface and there's a lot of things missing.
Australia's top end was long regarded as a safe haven. But even up here in the Kimberley, this land that once teemed with native animals is now eerily silent. So there's a crisis. This here.
Oh, there's no other way to put it.
There's trouble.
Yep, absolutely.
For the last 5 years, ecologist Steve Murphy has been working in the Kimberley, tracking once abundant animals.
That is a good animal. Look at the size of him.
Mammals like the tiny but feisty pale-field rat.
He's gonna.
There it goes. Ooh, he's going to bite.
He did bite. Man, he's got me.
Uh-oh.
Lean back.
Okay, it's a
Okay.
delicate area.
He's right. He's right. No, he was away from there.
So once upon a time, we would see lots of these guys.
So they've been in the continent, evolving to Australian conditions for well over 1 million years.
So in the last, what?
We've suddenly wiped them out.
In the last 100 years, they've been annihilated.
In the end, people would say, well, look, he's just a rat.
He might look just like a rat, but he's an Australian rat, and he exists nowhere else in the world. They are what makes Australia, Australia. So he might look like a rat, but he's our rat.
He is our rat.
Yeah.
Our most endangered species may not all be cute and cuddly, and certainly not household names, but the fact is, Australia was their only home. And researchers fear which animal might be next.
It's like someone dropped a bomb in the middle of Australia, and it's still reverberating out to the coastline. It's exactly what it's like.
What is going wrong?
Who's creating the problem? Well, it's human impact, clearly. The three major problems in Northern Australia are feral herbivores, so that's things like donkeys and horses, and unmanaged stock. Feral predators, so cats, and uncontrolled fire. And they're interacting in a pretty powerful way to cause these problems. So check this out. This is the stomach contents from a feral cat that we shot just 2 days ago.
And when you see the impact of just one feral cat, you understand the scale of the problem.
That's a frog leg.
So this is a French cat.
French cat, could be.
It's a grisly task, but these innards tell a tale of destruction that's repeated by an estimated 20 million feral cats across the country every day.
Oh, it's a rodent. One of the native rodents.
Are you surprised at what you do find inside these cats?
Absolutely, yeah. We're up to, well, 1, possibly 2 frogs, a bird. I'd say, judging by that fur, maybe 2 small mammals. So that's 1 cat in 1 night. You know, back of the envelope calculation, magnify up, and you're talking about hundreds of millions of native animals being eaten by cats every year.
So dire is the problem that the federal government's admitted it's powerless to save every endangered species. Preserving our wildlife has fallen increasingly to private donors.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Henderstein there, Butch. Yeah, it has.
Steve works for the biggest of them, the Australian Wildlife Conservancy.
Look, I mean, imagine that, Butch. Imagine being a small mammal trying to live there. You've got no cover left whatsoever. So if there's any cat anywhere that can be in this place, it's going to have easy pickings for the next, couple of months.
The Conservancy buys up vast tracts of land and turns them into nature reserves. So far, they own 20 properties totalling nearly 3 million hectares.
Are birds your favourite?
I like birds. Birds are great.
On the Mornington property in the Kimberley, Steve and his colleagues do painstaking research into some of our most vulnerable animals, like the Gouldian finch.
Yeah, just
If you
blow.
just give it a little blow, a little bit harder.
Oops.
Chris Darwin is also part of this growing band of private donors, dipping into his own pockets and handing over this 68,000 hectare property to the conservation group Bush Heritage.
This property cost $4.37 per hectare. You know, you can't get a cup of coffee and a muffin for $4.37.
His enthusiasm for nature's great wonders is boundless. Whether it's counting the rare Acacia cerastus plant,
Oh, wait a second. What's this? Here we are. Here is one coming up.
all remaining 500 of them,
So we've now got 502.
God, they're everywhere.
They're swarming. They're not endangered anymore. they're a pest. I've got him.
Or trapping that most unappealing of creepy crawlies, the scorpion.
I actually think he's actually handleable. I think you could do it.
I'm not.
No.
Good try.
No, okay. Come on, oh, his stinger's just moved.
Yeah.
Come on, back
him in.
Drop him in. I'm just going to move. I don't want to get him angry.
Well,
There we are. Come on, back. Whoop. There we are.
Man. For Chris Darwin, preventing another great extinction is personal.
Basically, we have inside us all, we have a destructive nature, and we also have a nurturing nature. But we can all make a difference. We can all make a difference,
And we should.
and we should. I think. Well, you know, I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better. But I can tell you, this is the best thing I've ever done in my life.
But every species has its own distinct threats and challenges.
They're an animal that's living on the edge when it comes to climate. So
Tonight, Chris and scientist Nick Dunlop are monitoring the lesser long-eared bat.
Oh, look at those gnashes. Have you been bitten ever, Nick?
oh, have I been bitten ever? I've lost count. Lost count.
These bats are so dependent on stable temperatures to survive that Nick believes they'll be a good indicator of what climate change will mean for biodiversity. And how soon will you know?
Well,
It's a long term.
It's long term. We might see measurable changes in a decade or so, but I'm used to that. I've stayed there 30 years. You've got to be in this game for the long haul.
If you went 20 million years into the future, you will see, if we keep going as we're going, you will see a train wreck in the fossil record. And we are causing it every day.
By giving this land back to our native wildlife, Chris Darwin and Steve Murphy are already seeing dramatic results. But they fear there's still much work to be done if we're to reverse this crisis of our own making.
When I wake up in the morning, I feel like there's a big job to be done. I love wildlife, I care about it a lot, and the fact that I will never be able to see a lesser bilby keeps me awake at night, you know. So
Really?
the fact it does, it honestly does, and the fact that it's happening right now on our watch in Northern Australia, it's chilling in a way.
You've got to stand back from it and you've got to say, we are undertaking an unsupervised experiment on a planetary scale when we got nowhere else to go. Why don't we just stop now? Why don't we just say, we know we need the planet. It's not a big problem. Let's stop now. Let's stop the destruction.